Hello everyone and welcome to the Dirty Side of the Grid podcast, where we've turned up late to qualifying and ended up on the dirty side of the grid. I'm Mohammed and this is my co-host Yusuf, and today we're doing a pre-Saudi episode for the first
Saudi,
ever...
not Qatar?
Shut up, right. For the first ever Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. If I look a bit confused, it's because we've been filming for like 20 minutes now.
And we lost all the footage.
So it's a great start. Once again, we were...
2 episodes in a row, there's 2 episodes in a row.
Hopefully I look a little less depressed in this one. To be honest, I feel like I watched back the last one, I feel like I looked like I wanted to die for the whole thing. Not even after we switched rooms, just the whole time I looked so sad. Yusuf is also pretty smug because he's stolen my laptop off me, so I have none of my notes. So he's... As much as I'm talking now, he's going to be leading most of the episode, so we'll see where we end up and see what happens, really.
Thoughts on Saudi? Like the track, the layout, how do you think the race is going to go? All of that stuff, basically. Give us a rundown on your thoughts on the race, basically.
Okay, well, to start off with the track itself, they're constructing a street circuit, really, which is already a bit weird in itself.
It's just wrong, isn't it? It's like you're constructing a street circuit, which is supposed to be like you just put the barriers and you go race on the street, you know?
Have you seen the pictures of Monaco? They have the curbs, like the painted curbs are there all year, which looks so cool.
But it's just wrong, isn't it? But I think they just want to give the aesthetic of a street circuit, but they don't actually want to have a street circuit.
Have you seen recently? Actually, someone took a picture of the track from their plane window, and it looked incredible. Like, it looked really good. Like, when you see the track layout drawn onto like just a plain background, that's how it looked, because obviously the one side is the Red Sea and the other's just like a couple lights of the city or whatever. But the track itself, the layout is so bright, it looks incredible. Like, it did look really good. Those are some good images. But in terms of the track,
high speed track?
Very high speed, so it's going to be, I think the average speed will be the second highest on the calendar.
It's not a straight line. It's not like, say, Qatar, where you have that long straight or like stuff like that. But it's like you have corners, but they're flowing corners, so it's almost like, it reminds me a bit of Silverstone, where you're going to lift a bit off, but you're still pretty much going full throttle throughout the circuit.
Yeah, so like high G, but in terms of...
Monza's more out than Silverstone. I'm thinking Silverstone the beginning, first few corners.
Yeah, or even the Silverstone S's nowadays, like back in the day there'd be like a couple downshifts and stuff, but now they just, the first 3 are like
Lewis
flat.
Knocked Max out.
Not there afterwards, but we won't mention that. Actually, we will mention that later. Well, if you get down to my notes far enough.
Hopefully Max wins the championship. You can see the disappointment on his face, just like...
Part of me still thinks he will do.
No, but what are your thoughts on the track? Like, compared to, say, like, tracks... Because there are certain tracks on the calendar that you're like, why is that there? Like, for instance, Mexico, France, Monaco. Okay, no, I get Monaco. Like, qualifying is great. There's a lot of history there. So there is an argument for Monaco being there. There's no argument for Mexico being there. There's no argument for France being there. There's no argument for, like, Kota being there.
I feel like with those tracks where there's no, like, it's all politics, like, you can tell it's politics. Like, Russia is an awful track, but you know why they went there, it's because of the whole World Cup and stuff. And then Mexico, like, no one really likes the track, but first of all, it's historic-ish, and second, Perez, Mexican driver, brings a lot of fans and stuff. So it's always politics, like, whenever there's a bad race or bad whatever it is or stuff, it's always politics.
Usually because of this, isn't it?
So here, now, coming to...
Because
Saudi.
of politics, we have a street circuit that's not really a street circuit.
Not really a street circuit. Another night race that's going on the calendar, which, as much as night races are cool, it's kind of losing its thing now.
The only one that actually I really enjoy is Singapore.
Yeah. Singapore is so good.
But that's the thing, because Singapore is so hard to overtake, so you actually, like, they come close and there's this battle, but, like, Bahrain and Qatar, I feel like they remind me so much of each other. As in, like, I feel like it's this, like, it's not the same circuit, but like
They look the same.
it looks exactly the same. Like
Especially
this,
the outer. They look
yeah, like that long straight, the right hander. It just honestly, I thought I was watching, like, I was confused as a Qatar or Bahrain. I'm not even joking, but as in, it's so easy to overtake, and unless you're in the same car, like say Nico Lewis in, like, was it 2015, where they really went at it in Bahrain.
Oh, 14, yeah.
14, yeah. That was the only time I think you've actually watched it and you're like, you know, that was sick. Or maybe in Bahrain, like, this year, maximum.
Yeah, because normally something significant happens, like someone gets tipped over or like...
Yeah, but then someone, it's very easy to build up a gap and then just relax.
Yeah.
It's not really an exciting circuit. So, what do you think is going to happen?
With this one, I mean, so they're saying the slipstream will be powerful. With the circuit itself and it being high speed, I've read that it's very similar to Qatar in terms of the just how the cars will behave. So essentially, we had last week, Aston was performing well. Then who else was good?
Mercedes was very good.
Mercedes was strong, but specifically the midfield we had.
Alpine was very good.
Alpine, yes, that's what I was thinking of. Alpine were very strong.
Ferrari
was
Gasly
solid.
and AlphaTauri were very good on, like, qualifying. Surprisingly, McLaren were bad.
Yeah, so McLaren were kind of struggling a little bit, but if they sort out their problems, they'll be in the fight. And then Gasly, if they can figure out what was wrong with his race pace, that's like all of the midfield teams, including Ferrari and McLaren, now in a tight battle, which would be very interesting, I'd say.
I don't think it's a tight battle. I think Ferrari have taken kind of like...
No, not in the championship, but if you take the race by itself, it's going to be...
Like, for McLaren to win, they need Ferrari to basically get a double DNF and they get, like, 4th and 5th.
I think if Ferrari outscore McLaren by, I think it's 13 points or something like that, they'll secure 3rd straight away. Like, there and then.
You know, it's disappointing, isn't it? Because, like, McLaren were so far ahead, and because of because of Daniel, okay, let's...
No, but Lando's punctures as well has played a big part.
Yeah, but as in, like, it's not Lando's fault, that's what I'm saying.
No, they've just been very unlucky.
When he lost points, it's because he's unlucky. When Daniel lost points, it's because he's not showed up.
True. I mean, we can't take Qatar into this because of the fuel saving incident, but, like, in general... Yeah,
that was weird, I'm not going to lie. Like, why is he fuel saving?
But what do you think of the track, then?
The Saudi one? I'm really excited, because it's the first one on the, like, the calendar that is of this type, really. That's kind of... Like, the closest would be, like, Monza, maybe. But as in, Monza doesn't have nearly as many corners. And
it's the most corners on the calendar as well.
It has a lot of corners, but they're not corners where you're slowing down and going. It's like, basically you're going almost full out, or like you get 2, maybe 3 downshifts, and then you're all the way up. I don't think even that much, but I think it's going to be really exciting, in terms of like just the layout of the track, and like, you know, the onboard would be really nice. Like the onboard, one of the onboards I really enjoyed this year was Portugal. Because, you know, there's that.
Oh right, yeah.
The car goes up and it's going down, and the onboard there in Zandvoort was really, really nice.
They've got banking in these corners as well, actually.
Yeah, so
certain corners have nice banking there.
So that's one reason why I'm really excited for Saudi, is they've taken these elements of like what people would be excited for. Like, if I'm designing a really high speed track, like I want people to enjoy, I'm gonna put like long flowing corners, which Saudi has. I'm gonna put like bankings in. And they basically put all this stuff into one track.
That's what they did in Kota, isn't it? So like in Kota back in the day. No. So they did the big elevation change into turn 1, which gives Kota its like iconic look. Then they did the S section. They just stole from Silverstone and Suzuka, so they stole that bit. Then the twisting final last sector is also stolen. The long back straight was probably got off Abu Dhabi. Like, of course, you're just going to shove a long back straight in there. And then the final, like, double right, I think, is just a classic Tilke move that he puts on, like, Turkey and Russia. And, like, he just loves a long corner.
Russia's very boring. Worst tracks on the circuit. On the calendar.
It's just going to have to be France. It's so flat.
No, but I can't, like... I put Monaco, like... mid to low of like the table. Like if you have a table and I have to think really nice tracks that I enjoy watching, be Monza's at the top, Silverstone's at the top.
I love Suzuka. Suzuka's so good. I just like it. Spa as well.
Spa obviously. So Monza, Silverstone, Spa, Brazil, they're all at the top. I think those are like maybe the best circuits on the grid. The worst ones are. I'm not gonna put Monaco in there. I feel bad putting Monaco in there, but like
they're just ones with no character.
Mexico,
it's bad racing, but also
Mexico,
no
Russia, Kota, France.
Yeah.
What else is bad? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. You could Google the calendar if you really want to. I'm trying to think. So where do we go? So we start in Bahrain. Does Australia count? I feel like Australia's kind of mid tier.
Yeah, that's the thing. Australia is neither kind of like.
Where else do we go?
Absolutely great or really
Hockenheim.
I never liked Hockenheim, to be honest.
Really?
No.
I don't mind it.
That's the thing. Germany, I think they have much better racetracks than Hockenheim. Like, if you go into Germany, you want like the Nürburgring or like.
Yeah, Nürburgring.
You don't want like. Why is Hockenheim? Like, I don't get that.
I don't mind it.
So you've got Bahrain, like there were 2 this year. Imola is actually really nice. I really enjoyed watching Imola.
It's okay.
I put it in mid-tier. Portimao is really nice. The track there is really nice, especially because the car it goes up and the driver doesn't see where they're going and they have to take that left and it's a really nice track. Spain, I don't like.
Awful.
Spain.
You know they just signed a contract.
Yeah, to 2026.
Yeah.
At least it's a bit better. This is not. It's a bit better than the Valencia one that was like there a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember because Fernando won his first race for Ferrari there.
That was his first race.
Monaco, like first race win for Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
Azerbaijan.
No, wait, hold on, no, it wouldn't have been.
It was.
Did he?
In Spain. I think his first win for Ferrari.
It must have been 2010 then.
Yeah. I think it's 2010. Yeah.
The one that stands out for me is when he won in 2012. I think he won from like 5th, and Vettel was meant to dominate that one.
Azerbaijan, really nice track. Actually, it always delivers because it's such a tight street circuit. So you always get like the safety car. You always get like an interesting race. Like it was really interesting this year with Lewis kind of ruining his own race. Austria's like
I like Austria.
Austria's kind of boring though.
No, I like Austria.
It's kind of boring though.
No, what do you mean?
Like that's the thing. The track is like if you get a child to design a track, design Austria.
No, it's not even designed though. It's nice. It's just there.
I'm not saying it's bad.
I'm
not saying it's a bad track. I'm saying it's a good track. But I'm saying as in like
it's a bit short.
It's very short.
It is a bit short.
And like I guess this year that's the reason I say it's boring because this year is boring. Max won by like 20 seconds. Like.
Yeah,
and it was a triple header, so you didn't get any time for like improved performance. That's me, right?
Yeah.
Silverstone, incredible. I love Silverstone. Hungary is okay. Hungary always kind of delivers interesting races, even though the track layout is not maybe the best.
Yeah, surprisingly good for what it looks
like. Really good races. Like there was that one where Lewis won his first race for Mercedes there, when they weren't supposed to win at
2013.
Yeah. Belgium Spa, great race.
Yeah,
the Netherlands, surprisingly, but like Zandvoort is like it's a really nice track.
It's a nice track, but I think the race was kind of boring.
No, the race is really boring, but I think that was hindered by qualifying because the track was very bad for qualifying, and so do you remember this? Like a lot of issues with like Mick Schumacher hit Sebastian and stuff. Or he ruined his lap?
I've basically forgotten everything.
I think it's a nice track though. Like maybe not.
It's a nice track. I wouldn't like.
I think the issue was Max was so far ahead, so it was a bit boring. But that could be said for like every single race over the past like 7 years because Lewis won like 20 seconds.
Yeah, you can't judge the track for that.
Yeah. What else? Then we have Italy, Monza. I think one of the best races on the grid. Russia, dead. Turkey, dead.
Dead recently. I like Turkey in general.
Dead. Mexico,
Turkey's a nice track.
See, this is the issue. From after Monza, it's just the next it's Russia. After Monza, it's Russia, Turkey, the U.S., Mexico, like 4 dead tracks like back to back. And then Brazil.
And Turkey.
That's the thing. Brazil is so iconic, and Brazil is actually like the track is so nice.
Should Brazil be the final race?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. I wasn't.
Like
if we had to argue on that point, that would have been incredible.
It's not even a conversation. Like I'm so disappointed that like. To be fair, Abu Dhabi as a last race, I think is okay in terms of like maybe I'm interested to see how the race is this year, because they changed the layout of the track after people compared. But I think there's always like over the past few years there's always kind of generally like a championship battle at the end. except like the few Lewis won outright. But that makes it interesting. When there's no battle at the end, it's such a boring racetrack.
Yeah, you want it to.
But
You want it to hold its own without the championship battle. Like, even if the championship has been won, you want to say, "Oh, I'm looking forward to the last race." Because at least we get to
you
go
get
to
that
Abu
with
Dhabi.
Brazil.
You do get that with Brazil.
You don't get that with others. So maybe it's related to the weather, perhaps.
Potentially, but even then, it's just like
I don't.
It's just
I
there.
never liked the Abu Dhabi circuit. I'm hoping though, like with the changes they made this year, that is actually an interesting race.
There's potential. Yeah, there's definitely potential. But so back to Saudi, I'd say. I don't know. So it's the most corners, even though we've said they're not really corners. It's the fastest.
Second fastest track.
Well, second fastest track, the fastest street circuit, we'll call it. I'm just seeing DRS train written all over this, to be honest. Like long straights, DRS. I'm just seeing DRS train.
But then, like, if someone puts in a new engine, that just blasts by everyone. I guess it's determined a bit by the width of the track, because like, if you get when you get like DRS trains, it was like Hungary, I think, if I remember correctly. But that was because the racetrack's so tight that you don't have you can't kind of send it down the inside or something, because it's like so tight. But with Qatar, it was just not even Qatar. Like with the racetracks where it's a bit wider, it's a lot easier to kind of like, from that kind of DRS, make a move.
Yeah.
And not get stuck. I think with this one, it's going to be quite wide. It's not that wide, but
hopefully it is. You'd assume so. But
yeah.
what it also needs is, at the end of the straights, there needs to be a hard braking zone. If there's no hard braking zone, it's like a fifth gear corner. You're going to slow down, but you're not going to slow down enough for someone to be able to dive up.
But that's the thing, there are no like really slow braking zones in the south.
Then all the passes are just going to be on the straight. Even though I read also, like earlier, that they're trying to not make it so that the overtakes are just dead and happen on the straights. They are trying to make the overtakes happen in the corners. It's just I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We have to talk about like the safety procedures that weren't followed with Saudi basically. So for a track to be on the calendar, if it's a new track, it has to be safely approved essentially by someone from the FIA. They have to go to a track, look at the track, check all the kind of parameters have been fulfilled and all of that. That's 120 days before the race. If it's a track that has been already on the calendar, then that's 90 days. The track's not finished, and we're like 5 days out from the race, 6 days out from the race.
Yeah, at time of recording, we're on Monday right now. This will come out at the end of the week.
It's a joke.
We have no news, like.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't think like you can't give up safety in a sport like Formula 1, because you're putting people's lives in danger. Like, I don't know. Like, expecting a driver to die for them or like get horribly injured, like Roman, for them to be like, oh, we shouldn't have put this on the calendar. No, but like, follow the procedures from the beginning, you can't this is what we're talking about, politics,
Yeah.
This racetrack is on the calendar because of politics. Like, it could be a great racetrack, I think it's going to be a great racetrack, but the fact that it's on this year is because of politics. Which is incredibly disappointing, because they're putting the drivers' lives in danger, and like, for what?
I know, I feel like F1 in general is always very reactive with safety. Like, it's never... Apart from, I'd say, the Halo, everything has been reactive.
Yeah.
Like, the Halo was the first time they said, we're going to do something to
but that wasn't that like reactive almost to what happened to Jules? It was introduced a few years later.
Was it actually?
Because I remember
it was
dropped on his head. Like, the thing, he was stuck below it. So if there was a Halo, he would not have, like, passed away.
So even then, it's always always reactive. They see something happen and then they go.
But this is the thing. Like, these procedures are already laid out, like, to approve the circuit. But you haven't approved the circuit. That's the thing. Like, it took them like 3 weeks to like change circuits this year, because of like Singapore was out, Vietnam was out, Japan was out. Was it China? China was out.
China was meant to be on, but it got taken off.
And they're all taken out because of COVID. And basically, they put on new tracks really quickly. Like, we haven't lost the number of tracks that stayed 23 the whole year.
Is it 22 now total? 22. But still, like, we've dropped one out of the number of cancellations. Great
turnout. But that means they had 120 days to sort out another racetrack instead. If you want to stay in the Middle East, they could have done. I don't know. Bahrain could have had another race there. To be fair, they had two in Bahrain, so they could have done maybe something in Europe. They had 120 days to sort it. That's what I'm saying. It's like you had a long enough time to sort out a racetrack. Bro, they could have just had one in South Africa. Probably not the best, like with COVID and stuff.
They could have moved Qatar and then kept the triple header to end in South America.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You had 120 days to sort this out. We knew from 4 months ago that it was not it's not really gonna be finished on time. 90 days ago, 3 months ago, we were talking about maybe 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago. We were talking about the track wasn't even half done. So they knew about this, but instead of looking for because they had enough time to look for a different track, but they did not do anything. So, yeah, it's incredibly disappointing. I hope nothing happens to any of the drivers. I hope the stuff that was left out was if the FIA had at least released a statement that okay, this track has been looked at and we've monitored and we've checked that at least all the necessary facilities have been fulfilled, but the stuff we're missing are the stands and this is it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hospitality stuff, you don't really care. But the FIA has not acknowledged any of this, and we're just sitting here and we're what's happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
it's just uneasy the fact that they're still working on the track as we speak. That's the weirdest
and the race is in 6 days.
It's awful. It's just worrying. It's got worrying written all over it.
I hope if we leave Saudi and everyone's kind of intact, then that's good. But
yeah,
we were talking as well about the marshals are volunteers. We were talking about this with Christian Horner.
Oh yeah.
And with what happened to Roman and was it Bahrain? Was it?
It was
Bahrain.
Yeah.
Would they have had enough time to train up these volunteers? With the racetrack not having been used before, people the marshals have never worked there. They have never seen the racetrack. So even if they've been trained, they don't actually know the layout. They don't know what's happening. They don't know where stuff's gonna happen. If you're working at Monza and people are gonna crash, people are gonna crash here, here, and here essentially.
Yeah. Or even I've memorized Monza.
Exactly. No, not even Monza. Bahrain, the marshals there, they knew here, here, and here, for instance. But with Saudi, would they have managed to finish that stuff? Are the marshals trained? Because we saw in Bahrain what happened to Roman. If something like this happens and the marshals aren't quick,
yeah,
that could be the difference between someone getting burns on their hands and someone potentially dying, or getting severe burns all over their body. They did change the gloves, so if there's a fire, it should be a bit better. But it's not ideal,
reactive. It's just you can just tell. This is pre something happening potentially, and then if something does happen, they're gonna change the rules and try and implement something. But it's always a reaction from F1. They're never, like you said, the rules are in place. They're already there. It's a 120-day rule, and it's there for a reason.
But they're not implementing these rules.
Yeah, they just let everything slide for the sake of the
money
show
and politics. Well, this is the same thing we're talking about this with drivers and the stewards essentially. Let them drive philosophy. The issue with that is drivers will get kind of I can push him off track. I can push him, but then that's not the issue. Is not pushing someone off track and losing a lead or stuff like that. It could potentially, if you push in the wrong corner, it could potentially have dangerous side effects. But that's the thing, they're not thinking about that when you're going into a corner at 120 or 300, 250 kilometers an hour, or even on some streets they reach 300 kilometers an hour, and you're braking. You're not thinking, can I push him out on this corner? That's not the thought in your head. You're I don't want to let him pass, so I'm going to push him out. But is it going to be is that corner going to be forgiven? The one in Brazil was fine because there's a lot of runoff. But if he goes into the gravel and then straight into a barrier, and they're going at such speeds, or if they clip him or something like that, you can see the thing that's coming to mind is Fernando in Australia.
Oh yes.
I remember him.
2016.
I vividly remember him saying I saw the sky and then the ground and then the sky and then the ground again.
That is, I will link that.
And I got out of the car and I called my mom and I can vividly remember it was a horrific accident. The fact that someone can go through the accident and actually walk out, that is
Yeah,
is
he
a
just
testament.
hopped up the car.
It's a testament to like the safety, it improves safety in F1. But this is such an easy fix. Like, change the circuit. Have Saudi from next year. Not that hard. Why are you following? They're not following.
the grey area.
The
It's always
FIA
the grey
aren't
areas.
following their own rules.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. It's just the grey areas. Like if you leave a grey area for the engineers, they'll take advantage of it.
No, but that's the whole point.
You
of
leave a
Formula
grey
One.
area for the drivers, they'll take advantage of it. And it's just a problem because I don't know, we're talking about ground effect and stuff for next year, what they're doing. The reason it was removed in the first place was
Safety.
because safety. In the 80s, they didn't have the safety to handle the cornering speeds that ground effect cars would produce. They're bringing it back now because we have the safety for that. Like, that's just an example of a
Do
grey
we?
area that just...
Do we?
I guess we'll find out next year, and then if something happens, they're just gonna, I don't know, make another rule about it, or introduce like a triple halo.
Triple halo. You know, I actually kind of like how the halo looks. I know a lot of people say they don't like the halo, but I think it actually adds a bit to the car. Like, it's a bit weird in terms of like I think the halo looks a lot better than the one they use in IndyCar. It's like this
Oh,
kind of
the
like
aero
glass.
shield thing.
Yeah, that looks dead, bro. Plus, it's like bad for like the driver getting out of the car. Like, if Roman was in that car and the car's burning, he's not getting out of that car.
What, the shield one?
Yeah, he's not getting
Is
out.
it that high?
It's tight. It's like high.
Oh wait, yeah. No,
Like
I
the
was
halo
thinking
is
of
a
it
lot
as a lot
lower.
smaller.
The
Yeah.
halo is a lot lower. Plus, like you saw that with Lewis with the car on his head. But then that's the thing.
There's
Is
no
the,
way that
is the
little
halo
plastic
high
thing's
enough?
gonna hold that.
Is the halo high enough? Because like Lewis got like
Oh,
pressed down,
oh.
so like should the halo be a bit higher or should it be tighter? But then I guess that's kind of like a constraint between you want to get the halo, but at the same time you want to give enough room for the driver to be able to jump out in case of a fire.
It will probably become closed cockpit. I'd say very soon they'll probably just switch to closed cockpit.
Or I hope
They'll
they
find a way of allowing
I
drivers
hope-
to get out quickly. And
I hope they don't, to be honest. I really hope. Because I actually preferred the cars from like pre-like 2016. Like, you know, like 2016's the car were so nice. That was pre-Halo, isn't it? Was
It
that
was.
the first?
Yeah, no, Halo was 2018.
Those cars look much better than with the Halo. Like, I don't mind the Halo, but
I think the skinny cars in general look good. Like 17 had some very good looking cars, but the
But
wide
that's the thing,
tires
I'll tell
just
you-
look kind of strange to me.
yeah, I'll tell you, the cars look bad from after like I think
2014.
2008, basically. After that, they just look bad.
Not really.
No, after that, like, you know, you get like the iconic Red Bulls, which look good, don't look bad. But then you got that weird nose thing where they're
That's
like,
14, yeah.
bro, they look so bad, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah, right. Well,
That looks, honestly, that looked disgusting. Like, so going into Saudi, the momentum in the championship. Is it Lewis or Max? Who do you think is going to go on and win it?
well, the momentum's in Lewis's favour, but here's the thing: Max can still not only mathematically win the championship, but he can also make it very easy for him to win the championship in Abu Dhabi. Like, all he needs is a decent performance, and he can put himself in a position where no matter where Lewis finishes, he can win the championship. Which is the situation.
But that's the thing, is it's hard because going into Saudi, the track favors, like they're saying Mercedes are going to put in the Brazil engine again.
Yeah, and Mercedes engineers are saying that they're.
If
It's
they put
gonna
that
suit
engine
them,
in, it's going, if they put that engine in, Max is not going to see Lewis at all. So
No, but if he
I think
qualifies on pole somehow, okay,
Yeah,
the gap has been like 4/10, but still, like if something.
I don't
happens-
see him qualifying on pole, to be honest. I see Lewis just like building like one of those kind of 20-second gaps where he just wins, unless like he gets like a reliability issues.
I'd say we're gonna see safety cars though. Surely with the track we're gonna see safety.
I don't
cars.
think so, because where would they really crash?
That's a good point.
Like,
No, I'd say.
no, there could be potentially safety cars,
Do
but
you know
that's the
what
thing, with the engine he has, if he puts in that Brazil engine, it's just gonna build that gap again.
No, but one weird thing with like cold tires on the restart or something, and Max is ahead of him.
Yeah, but that's
Like-
the thing. Lewis has executed like these restarts so well, for the like it's not his first race where he's like executing one on like cold tires. He's done this for so many times over the past like I don't know how long he's been in Formula One, and he has a clearly superior car in the straights.
Yeah.
Especially with that engine in. He was ahead, was it like by 20 kilometers an hour on the straights?
I don't know, but it was
27, I think. It was 27.
27?
I think something like that. I remember, was it, Christian was commenting on his thing, you can't just get that from a new engine. You don't get 27 kilometers.
Of course he said that. But I mean, to be fair, it is a bit...
You don't get
it's a
27
strange game.
kilometers.
Yeah, you don't just do that from a standard upgrade. Yeah.
I reckon Lewis is going to win. I reckon Lewis is going to take fastest. If he doesn't take fastest lap, it will be because Perez ruined his thing and got the fastest lap.
One of them two is going to get it.
But even if that happens, Lewis wins. No, but that's the thing. Like Mercedes have such a superior car that potentially if Bottas comes in second, that's great for Mercedes. But I reckon that would be Max,
a good point.
Lewis,
they
Bottas.
Desperately need Bottas to come in second place.
But even if like say worst case scenario for Lewis, Max comes P2, then Lewis is 1 point behind. So he just needs to finish ahead of Max.
Yeah, true.
Unless he's finishing at the very bottom, which like of the points, which is very worrying in essence. But if Bottas finishes ahead, I think they won't care about fastest lap if they somehow get Bottas in P2 and keep him there.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Because that gap will just be like then it's swung in Lewis's favor, and then Lewis can finish probably. He can't finish P2, but like he can just crash into Max.
He's more comfortable.
Yeah, he can crash into Max and win the championship.
Sure.
You know, it'd be interesting to see if Senna Prost thing, you know, where he crashed into him and took him out. If that happens today, what type of penalty they give him?
Oh, that is a very good point. Yeah.
Because
that would be strange.
You can't.
The stewards would have a meltdown, bro.
Yeah.
They would break down in tears.
You can't give them. No, think about it. You didn't have Twitter.
They wouldn't be able to handle it, bro.
You don't have Twitter and that stuff at that during that day, but you can't give him a grid penalty. You can't give him 10 seconds.
You got to disqualify. If he's done it on purpose, if it looks like he's just done it on purpose, you got to disqualify him.
You got to disqualify. But that's it. He wins anyways.
That's major. No. If you disqualify him because he's done it on purpose, that's 0 points gone from the championship. He's finished last.
Oh, you mean as in they disqualify not from the race, from the championship?
They did that to Michael, didn't they?
When?
90, whatever the year it was, where he crashed into thingy on purpose. Not when he beat Damon Hill, when he crashed into
but Villeneuve finished ahead of him, so he won the championship.
No, but he was disqualified afterwards anyway.
Was he?
Yeah, so he ended on 0 points.
Yeah, so I reckon that probably, that's the thing, if it doesn't look like it's on purpose.
If it doesn't look like it was on purpose.
He can't do what Senna did, basically.
No, yeah.
He can't do what Senna did.
Oh, bro, they're going to hide the onboard for the next 4 years. That's what
but that's the thing, I think they can't give him a grip penalty. I think giving him any kind of fine. The only option is to disqualify him.
Yeah.
But then I think now they'd be forced into disqualifying him just purely because of social media and people being he can't win and this and this, you know,
Funny enough, you bring that up, that's already happened. So one of the things on there to help you out, it's I've been on Twitter.
Max fans acting like championship is over online, crying over Baku. That's literally what you've written, bro.
That is word for word what I put down. So essentially, I've been on Twitter a lot recently, as we all know. And this week, the main theme is Max fans crying over the points lost in Baku and Silverstone, basically saying,
yeah, I'm just going to say,
we would have won the championship.
I'm just saying,
this is so sad. They're basically acting like they've lost it already. They're not even saying, this is sad, if Lewis wins, we should have got these points. It's unfair. They're saying
it's kind of obvious.
You can't say that. You can't say he's won the championship.
No, but that's just because you're a massive Lewis fan and you're kind of scared he's going to get a reliability issue. But Lewis fans always say the same thing, Nico only won because Lewis got that thing in Malaysia, the DNF in Malaysia.
I used to be one of those, but I see how dumb that is now, realistically.
So you can't blame
argument,
but that's the thing.
You can't blame
with going into the past, before Brazil, the championship was firmly in Max's hand in terms of he had the best car, he was ahead on points. It was his championship.
He had Danny Kvyat's girlfriend. He's living the life.
Oh my god.
Christian Horner was in his back pocket.
Yeah, but going into these last two races, Lewis has a superior car. If Lewis wins, they're equal on points, or Lewis is ahead. So, I don't think it's actually. I think it's more Lewis's championship to lose now because it's clearly the car clearly suits him more. Going into Abu Dhabi, I think if they hadn't made change the track and stuff, it would have been a Red Bull more kind of suited to the Red Bull car.
Definitely. Yeah.
But with the new kind of changes, it would be interesting to see kind of how that kind of is it, because the balance is close in Abu Dhabi, even if it's equal on points. I think people have seen the performance in the Mercedes and now they're like, yo. But going into Abu Dhabi, most of the circuit literally like favors the Red Bull.
True,
except
the third sector they're gonna be very strong at.
So
the second sector,
it's interesting to see who comes on top in terms of Abu Dhabi, because if you get pole there, you lead from like the first corner, you're off.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where it's very easy to hold like a 6-second gap if you really want to.
Like it's interesting because like even like with Nico, like he realistically, like there was a lot of pressure on him because it's his first championship and all of that, and I think he doesn't deal with pressure as good as like drivers like Michael and Lewis and
he said in an interview his foot was shaking on the throttle pedal.
I know, and that is a separate issue, but as in he managed to keep behind him 2 great drivers, and he never really looked like he was gonna like they were gonna overtake him. He never really looked like that.
Yeah, it was only one attempt, but it was very hard.
Yeah, but that was like
and even him himself, he made the move on. I think it was Max.
It was Max when he came out of the pits. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to make the overtake, like Fernando had to, but this time it actually worked out.
But I think that's what separates Nico from like drivers like Lewis, Michael, Max, even George, Lando. These guys, they're a lot more composed than like Nico is a great driver.
I mean, I wouldn't put Lando in the...
No.
George, we don't know yet.
No, I'm saying as in Lando and George have the potential to reach kind of these heights. But I'm saying it in terms of like their future stars. You can put Charles as well there. But in terms of like, if you're talking about like already there, I'd say Michael, Lewis, Max, Fernando, Kimi. Like these guys are like calm. They know what they're doing. Yeah. Nico was always the type of like... You know, that's like Nico was always the guy he's putting all the pressure on himself. Whereas Lewis is off partying and enjoying himself. Nico is sitting at home being like, how am I going to win the championship? How am I going to win the championship? He's psyching himself out. I think that's actually like, if he got over that, I think I think he would have gone on and actually beaten Lewis maybe. Or would have been I think he would have beat Lewis like a year or 2 more. I think Lewis would have had the overall like advantage, say, against Nico.
Speed-wise, 1-on-1, Lewis is faster.
But I mean, as instead of like him winning like the 7 or 6 championships, with Nico winning 1, it would have been like say 4 and like whatever, or like 5 and. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would have been a lot closer. That's what I mean. Like 4 and 3 or whatever. It would have been a lot closer. But it's kind of disappointing. I actually really liked him.
True, and his podcast and stuff, like him talking about things, it's very interesting. Like, I like his... He's just a real guy.
He interviewed Roman Grosjean. And
one
of his hands, his right hand's fine, his left hand is scarred. Like, you can see it's bad, bro.
I saw his one about Jensen. That was a good interview. If you're looking for things, I remembered, while we're on the topic of the championship...
We talked about
as you're talking about... Lewis basically having won the championship now. You're saying you would rather be Lewis Hamilton at this point. Like you're 8 points behind, but you have the car advantage for the next 2 races. So you're saying you would rather be
going into the last 2 races, Lewis has a clear advantage with the like. That's the thing. Lewis is behind on points, but Lewis is not going to be behind.
I would take the points advantage. No, I would take the points. I would rather be Max right now.
Going into like, you say this now, but at the end of this week they're equal on points.
No, but even then, what we're doing is we're saying Lewis is going to get pole, win the race.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
These are all big things.
Yeah, but the track is like, you're also talking about a guy who's won 102 times. Because he's had pole at 31.
I'm not questioning Lewis. I'm questioning the variables.
Yeah, but Lewis has the capability, and Lewis has the car. He has the skill to go out and take pole. And that's the thing.
Anything can
That's the thing. He also has the form. So Lewis has won the past 2 races, and now he's that Lewis that kind of you remember from 2020, 2019, where he's kind of he's driving at like Like in Qatar, Max was nowhere near. Like honestly, I'm telling you, he built that 8 second gap, and you saw it decreased a bit to like 7. It went up, and like I'm telling you, they switched down the engine, and he was cruising.
Of course they did that, but like.
No, but that
even
says
then, like,
he's like he took pole like was it what like half a second.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you're saying he doesn't have the advantage to go take pole.
He does have the advantage. I would rather take the points.
But even if you take like half that off, that he's still in pole, and he's still in pole by like 2 like.
And then he has to go on and win the whole, what is it, like 70 lap race or whatever it was.
Is it 70 laps in Saudi?
I have no idea. Actually, it's a bit long for it to be 70.
No, it's the second.
It's a long track, so it must be like 50. I want to say 50.
I think it's the
Spa's 44. Just Google it. It won't say on there.
It's one of the longest tracks in.
It's second longest. Spa is 44 laps, which means this would be, I want to say like, I think I saw 50 somewhere.
It's 50 laps.
Come on.
The distance is 308.45 kilometers. Circuit length 6.174 kilometers.
Spa is like 7.002 or something.
That's my issue with Spa. It's just so long.
I love Spa.
Yeah, but like as in the track is just too long.
It's nice.
Like Spa is interesting on like Eau Rouge, that kind of, and then it's just boring.
You haven't played it on an F1 game.
I know I haven't.
Playing it is so
okay, no,
fun.
and
You
then
need
the
to try
first,
that. It's
that
so
right,
good.
that after the full like, there's that right hand, and then going down like the hill, and going on the left. That's a bit interesting. Then it's kind of dead.
Oh, pull on.
Yeah.
Flat left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go down the hill and then that.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of boring after that.
You haven't. Honestly, it's the best. It's the best track to play if you're like new to the F1 game or whatever it is. You go on Spa Spa is the best track.
In Saudi, basically, you only get one like turn 1. You can say is like a break, like a hard braking zone. That's the only one you can kind of say is a hard. The rest of the track is literally just flowing circuit.
Some of them will be a bit slower than they look on here on the track.
Yeah, like maybe turn 27. Like I see people maybe overtaking turn 27, turn 1, turn 2 essentially.
I'd say they'd save it.
Turn 1, 2, and 3 reminds me a lot of the turn 1 and 2 in Monza. Because you have that long straight, and then you have that it's right left, whereas here it's left right.
Straight again.
And then but after that maybe turn 4 also looks a bit slow. But after that, literally after that is it's like you have basically like 3-4 corners.
After the first sector, no one's overtaken.
No, maybe
it's a DRS straight.
Maybe 27.
Potentially.
Yeah, but after that it's kind of dead. I'm not really.
We'll see how it looks. We'll see how it turns out.
So what's happening with the Mercedes rear wing?
Okay. So.
You want to explain what's happening?
Yeah. So.
The cheating, basically. I'm saying that
what was being said?
Mercedes need to be disqualified from the championship.
You can't
because
say
they're
that
cheating. They're cheating.
So what's happened is
Lewis needs to be disqualified. Max deserves to win the championship.
What's being said is
if Max hadn't been knocked out of those 3 races, Max would have won the championship. No, actually that is true. He would have won. He would have won in Spa. He would have won in Azerbaijan. He would have won.
Spa should have been cancelled anyway. Realistically.
No, not Spa. Not Spa. There was a different Hungary. He would have won in those 3.
You mean Baku?
Hungary, Baku, and
Silverstone.
He would have won all 3. Bro, he would have had the championship.
What shame.
Yes. Oh.
Right.
He was so unlucky though. Like you have to.
He was unlucky. He was very unlucky.
Those 2 races where 2 Mercedes took him out like back to back. Honestly, it looked like it was planned, but the second one from Valtteri was like where
that was stupid. That was just incompetence, really.
no, but like, how can you plan to hit Lando and like just be like, yeah, we hope he hits like Max.
Ended up taking out both Red Bulls by driving into the back of a McLaren. That is Valtteri Bottas stuff right there. But anyway, so the point of the Mercedes rear wing is, this was mentioned in Brazil, but that basically Red Bull didn't want to do it in Brazil. What they were saying is they're talking about the Mercedes rear wing and they're talking about how much they hate it and all of this stuff. They were going to protest it after Brazil into Qatar, but the gap in Qatar wasn't as big as they thought it would be, so they didn't mind as much. So the race pace, they said their straight line speed wasn't actually that significant.
No,
so they thought
Red Bull actually had like I think a slight, like they were ahead of Mercedes on like the maximum speed achieved by actually a bit. But
so they were thinking it's the rear wing, but it was actually because they were just Mercedes were using an old engine.
Yeah.
So what what's been said before is that potentially going into the next 2 races, Red Bull are going to protest that rear wing again, based on whatever grounds they've got, whatever analysis they have, those score marks they keep talking about, the pictures, the evidence. They've basically been gathering evidence for the past 3 races. But I don't know how likely that is now, seeing as, what's happened is they've introduced new tests. There's load tests they're doing on the rear wings. They're doing more comprehensive tests on the rear wing to make sure all of them are legal. And as far as we know, all of them are passed. So
it'd be interesting to see if they do get a penalty, what penalty do they get? Because
I don't think they will get a penalty. Nothing's going on.
No, that's the thing. I don't think they're gonna get a penalty, but realistically, can't disqualify them from the championship because we passed all your tests. But this is the thing. This is a grey area where they've passed all the tests, but maybe they have a tiny bit of technology that is giving them extra performance.
If they found a grey area in the what's it called? In the regulations, and they've taken advantage of that. They can't penalise that.
Exactly, I think that's what's happening, where they actually...
Probably, same with the engine, probably.
They've put a piece of technology that is kind of manipulating the rear wing a bit extra than it should be.
Maybe.
But I don't think they're going to risk big penalties now, especially because the penalty could be applied maybe to next year or something like that. I don't think they want to risk that. Did you see what Lewis said about also the car for next year?
I think I saw this quote, but
yeah, he was talking about they're basically doing great work in the simulator and this.
He said there's no point using the simulator for next year's car because of how much progress they've been making or how quickly they've been developing next year's car or something.
Yeah, but to be fair, the engineers they have are the best. Basically.
No, and even the thing is with the new regulations is these cars now because we've had these regulations for so long, they've been optimized. So let's say Usain Bolt, at his peak of his career, does 300 meter sprints. They're all going to hit around the 10-second mark, we'll say, 10 seconds, something like that. Whether I don't know how often you run a 100 meter sprint in your life, but let's say you haven't done it in the last year. Your first run will be not great, and then you do another one, you'll improve a lot, and then you'll improve a lot, and then slowly you'll come down, and the
that's the whole point
how
of
fast
new regulations. Yeah.
So the new regulations is starting again. So the gains are massive, and then slowly they all come together and find the peak performance because they all manipulate the rules and they all find the loopholes and all of this, and they find the best way of doing it. We are now at peak performance.
It's interesting because I said peak performance this last year, to be fair, but it's interesting because...
Oh yeah, because they changed it, yeah.
It's interesting because I forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time in history where they're not changing the regulations to make faster cars, they're changing it to make actually slower cars that are better for racing. But that's interesting because I reckon by the end of the year, the cars would have actually bridged that gap.
That's what they're saying. By the start of the year, they'll probably be equal on pace.
They
said a 10th down, but by the time it's the start of the year, they'll probably be
that's the thing.
Almost equal.
I think
by
the
end
regulations, they say they're going to be slow, half a second slower. I don't see that.
The regulations said they'd be 2 to 3 seconds slower, and then quickly they changed it a couple weeks ago, saying, "Oh no, actually they're probably just going to be half a second behind."
Yeah, but that change in philosophy of building a better car, I was speaking to someone who was you realize all the new tech in the car, it's just old recycled tech.
It is, yeah. But as we mentioned before, it's all just ground effect that came into place.
Ground effect, even the tires, the stuff on the tires, that's all that was used in 2009 by Braun. The rear wing actually looks similar to the rear wing used by was it 2014? I remember the Red Bull wing, the rear wing, the shape and stuff of it looks pretty similar to the one that is being in use today. It's not made of one part like this one, but it's very similar shape. You've got also the blown diffuser in the back, I think. The diffuser, I think, is
there's
similar
something
to the
significant
one.
about it.
Is similar to one of the older diffusers, though. I think it was the one used by Braun in 2009. Something
Probably,
along the lines.
Yeah, I think so.
So they're just recycling old tech, basically, but they're putting it instead of of different eras, they're putting it into one car, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see
They
the Venturi tunnels and the ground effect and all that stuff in the car and how it kind of... Because I was hoping they wouldn't put DRS.
Yeah, you'd think the whole point of DRS is it was a temporary fix, but they're still
but I was hoping they'd remove it and then, if necessary, put it back in.
Yeah, I guess they're gonna have to wait and see. Maybe they'll get rid of
You know,
DRS.
it'd be interesting if they did DRS where, like, I was gonna say something. It's like, you know, do Formula E where fans, you know, I don't get that.
No, we're not doing all of the
You know,
Formula E stuff.
I was joking. You know, Mad Max thing where if you pass over a pothole, you get like the extra. It's not Mad Max. It's the prison one. It was Statham.
I don't know, but now I'm thinking of Mario Kart Blue Shells to be honest.
Yeah, something similar. But basically, actually, that's one of the reasons I'm never gonna watch Formula One, because you gain performance Formula E. Because people vote for you, so you get an extra. What are you talking about, bro? What?
Yeah.
That and then I'm looking forward more to the new engine regulations than the new technical, like the car regulations, because they're gonna remove the MGH, and I'm just excited to hear that engine just like roar. Like you know, people now like who've watched F1 recently, they hear the engine, they're like, oh, this sounds great.
Do they?
But you've never heard the old engine. That's why.
Yeah,
if you go hear that 2008 kind of like engine, it's just special, bro. It's just so nice. Like
I can't get the vacuum cleaner sound out of my head. Like if you listen to the Alpine, it is a vacuum cleaner, and the rest of them sound equally like vacuum cleaners.
What are your thoughts on like Drive to Survive? The idea of essentially using Drive to Survive to get new fans in, and essentially Formula One is a lot more popular today than it was, say, like before Drive to Survive. There are a lot more people interested, a lot more people are watching. Like the effect that has had on, like, say, the sport, because I think it has massively, like, a lot of my friends who've never watched Formula One are coming and like they're speaking to me after they're interested, and it's like, that's nice. But you know, online basically you got a lot of like Lewis and Max fans who basically, you get what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
essentially they have no clue what they're talking about. And essentially they, like, I think you get it a lot of like maybe Lewis and Max specifically, where they don't know what they're talking about, and I think it leads to other people just getting fed up and hating that driver, because those fans who have no clue what they're talking about just because they've watched Drive to Survive are just like chatting nonsense where they don't know what you're talking about. Just don't comment.
Yeah, the problem is with the people.
They're quoting wrong regulations as well. That's the issue, you know. Like,
when people think they know what they're talking about, it happens a lot in football. Like it's gonna happen eventually in F1. Like when people think they know what they're talking about, but they really don't. You get some of the worst takes ever. Like there's actually an F1 account now for worst F1 takes. Maybe I'll get some screenshots up for the next episode. We'll come up with something.
Highlights of the week. Cyril is finally getting the tattoo he promised.
Yeah, 5 hours ago we got the
confirmation.
Confirmation on Daniel's Instagram. The picture of Cyril on the thing.
It
I'm
took him
surprised
a
he followed
really
through
long
with it.
time though.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, Cyril Abibel was the Renault team principal back when Daniel moved over, and before that. So when Daniel moved over, it was 2019 for the 2019
season. And 20.
So in the 2020 season, he made a bet with Daniel Ricciardo. If they got a podium, he would get a tattoo of his choice.
No, 3. If he got 3.
Was it 3 podiums?
Yeah, 3.
I thought it was just
Daniel
one.
got 3. Daniel got 3.
I'm pretty sure it was just one.
No,
it was just one.
No, it's 3.
The bet was 1, but Daniel ended up
I watched
with 3.
Drive to Survive. Oh no, I admitted to it.
The bet was, I'm pretty sure the bet was 1, but Daniel ended up getting 3 anyway.
Oh.
But either way, so the bet was 1, Daniel ends up getting 3 podiums. And now eventually he's actually going to do it. Daniel's posting a video about, by the time this is up, Daniel would have posted the video about the tattoo. And yeah, I'm surprised he's followed through with it. But it's a shame he's not in F1. He kind of mysteriously disappeared last year. He was fired from Renault. But he was a good character.
No, he wasn't.
He was funny to watch. There was that one conversation with him and Christian Horner that was funny. That little back and forth.
That's the thing. It's funny because everyone used to like mock him in the paddock basically. Like that was the funny. Like you have him there just because he's kind of like everyone's kind of laughing at him. But other than that, it's like he wasn't really that good as a team principal.
Yeah, as a team principal, I mean.
It's the same with like Haas. Like Gunter Steiner needs to leave.
Oh no, he's a complete joke. Yeah, realistically, he's talented, and I know he has some sort of good credentials. Yeah, I've heard something about his credentials.
But he shouldn't be like. I think he's managed the team long enough for them to realize that he shouldn't be managing the team. Like, he's
Yeah,
not
that's true.
achieved anything.
That's true.
Like, okay, he did well in those few years, but I think at the end, his management this year, obviously, of Nikita, the team, and the last few years where the performance has gone down, I think has shown that maybe he was capable of taking that team and getting good results, but once it started going down, he just...
Yeah.
he lost it all, basically.
Mazepin's dad, next team principal.
Yeah. Apparently, Mazepin's dad, I saw an article about this, is gonna be paying people like bonuses and stuff for them to stay with Haas next year.
That's just embarrassing. You know who
I
should
know.
actually try to do that?
Yeah.
Mercedes. Recently, they have lost their
Their
head of aero to Aston Martin.
They lost the head of Aero to Aston Martin. They lost the head of Mercedes HPP, the high
That's the
performance.
engines, high performance powertrains.
They lost him, and as soon as they lost him, they started having engine reliability issues.
It's just the downfall of Mercedes.
Valtteri has taken 6. To be honest, if I'm being honest with you, I think they're gonna win this year, and I don't see them like. I see them either dropping performance from next year, or I don't see them winning from next year, essentially. I think they'll be competitive. I don't see them winning.
I'd say they'd fall into like where McLaren is.
No, I don't think that much. I think it'll still be like I think from next year I think we'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4 be very competitive, and then the midfield or 1, 2, 3. I think they'll be in that 1, 2, 3, but I don't think they'll have the best.
Ferrari domination coming up.
No, I think because that's the thing. Mercedes now has the option of building kind of long-term project where they almost because they've reached like in terms of number of like championship wins and stuff like that, they're very close to like big teams. Like I think they're close to Williams, and then from Williams they have like McLaren, and then McLaren it's Ferrari basically. So they're quite close to that. So they have the chance to build a long-term project where they essentially they become kind of a synonym of F1 like Ferrari has become. But that's going to take a really long time.
Yeah,
and they're going to experience like these drops in performance. But I think it's how you go up again after that will tell them like how good the team is. Because Ferrari, they have these bouts where they go down, but they relatively like they went down last year, but now they're okay.
Ferrari always comes back, yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if they go down, then it's sold, or is it are they just going back to?
I think they'd sell it.
The HPP thing.
But
that's I reckon they're probably like. I think they got into Formula 1 because they wanted to sell more cars, essentially. They wanted to be seen as more of a sports brand and like be hip with the youth and all of that. That is essentially the point. But they've done that. Like, you know, you walk on the street now and every other car is a Mercedes AMG car. Literally every other car is an AMG. And it's because of that. It's because of Lewis, the influence. I think Lewis was perfect for them because he had that influence in terms of social media.
Yeah, they needed a celebrity and stuff, yeah.
It's interesting because Aston Martin is doing the exact same thing now.
They have completely copied that blueprint, which is fair because it worked.
Yeah, but that's interesting is they don't have that. They don't have
a superstar. Vettel's a superstar, but he goes home to Switzerland and chills with his kids. Like that's not what they need to sell cars.
It'd be interesting, and they have Lance. Like Lance has to go.
Yeah, Lance isn't a celebrity.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting what they do from next year in terms of like. Say like if Sebastian retires, I reckon at the end of next year probably we see a few drivers retiring. They're like Sebastian probably. I think
he's so young.
Lewis, no, he's not. He's like
Sebastian.
He's like 34. I reckon. I reckon from next year we have like like at the end of next season essentially we have 3 that are very highly possible to retire.
Right.
Lewis, Fernando, and
Fernando said he wants to stay until 2023.
And what's the other guy? And Lewis, Vettel, and Fernando.
Fernando said he wants to stay until 2023.
So that's true. But that's the thing. Fernando said this.
Might do.
Fernando says this stuff and never never follows.
Fernando says this stuff. They'll finish like 10th in the championship
and then
next year, and then it'll go.
Yeah, but
maybe.
Vettel, I think, is the most likely to go. I think it's Vettel and Lewis are quite close, and then Fernando. But I think it's only. I only think Lewis is very likely if he wins this year.
Yeah,
I think if he wins this year, then I think he'll retire next year. He'll experience the new regulations, and then
he'll have fun in the new car and then leave.
Exactly.
I see that.
As in just go out there, enjoy it. You don't have to win. I've got like 8 championships, 100 and whatever wins, however many podiums, crazy amount of points. But yeah. Okay, so race predictions essentially. So you're gonna have to predict.
Race
I'm gonna give you my qualifying predictions. I think.
Can you put on fastest lap on there as well? I kind of want to add fastest lap on.
No.
Why not?
No. So qualifying, I said Lewis, Max, Bottas. You're qualifying.
Lewis, Max, Bottas.
Yeah. Lewis is gonna take pole. Like that's fairly over.
Tough one. Yeah, we'll go Lewis first.
Yeah. Max, Bottas.
Max definitely second.
And then
You know what? No, you know what? Let's switch up. I'm gonna say Bottas qualifies ahead of Max. You look so disappointed. Listen, Bottas in qualifying.
I'm just gonna say there is a reason it's 3-0. You know. That's all I'm saying. So for the.
Did you see the TikTok I posted?
Yeah.
Double points, bro. Do you want? This time next week, I'll be begging for double points.
please. I still would win, you know.
Probably, actually.
So I said top 5 for the race. I said Lewis, Max, Bottas, Charles, Fernando.
Ooh.
It's interesting because Fernando, they have the car. We know we have the car for them to go and challenge. Same with Charles. Like, I'm not sure if Fernando or Charles goes ahead, but I think Charles. I reckon Charles. If they get the car, I think they have the better car than the Alpine.
Yeah, definitely. Because without the crack in his chassis and qualifying, like he would have been up there.
So I think Charles will do better, and I think Fernando, with the performance we saw, I reckon he's gonna be top 5. So, your thing. I reckon you should go for like Sainz to win.
Shut up. Right.
Sainz is gonna be the top 5. I do feel
like something weird.
Sainz is gonna be the top 5. Yeah. So.
I want to say something weird's gonna happen this time.
Okay, so.
What if I just keep going with the weird predictions?
Give me, come on. Perez wins.
No, you know. Okay, we'll stick with Lewis first.
Okay.
Max might as well finish second. Okay.
Lewis,
right.
Max.
Max finishes second. The podium is sealed with. Do I back Bottas though?
No, it's not gonna be Bottas. It's gonna be Ocon. I couldn't even hold in. I tried to hold in. I couldn't hold in.
I don't know. I want to say he's just gonna do something stupid. It's a new track. He probably will. Okay, you know what? New track. Bottas messes, which means that third place goes to. But then it should have gone to. We'll go Perez. We'll go safe. Perez. Then. Sainz. No, I'm gonna stick with Sainz. I trust him. And then Lando. I'm gonna trust McLaren will do okay as well. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with that.
No, I put Lando in one of these top 3 and I got him wrong, so I don't trust him now.
He's got to finish his awful run of form at some point. Unless he, I imagine he just gets another puncture now and that's it.
Yeah, that's fine. We didn't talk I'm not sure about the tire situation in Saudi. Is it going to be high tech
It's hard to tell. I mean, I haven't found any research on that because I guess.
But it's interesting because I haven't read anything about Pirelli and their investigation into what happened in Qatar.
Yeah, I don't know how public they're going to be with that.
That was disgusting what they did, to be honest.
I'd assume with all of the long straights and stuff, that would give the tyres a lot of time to cool down again.
They're also not like big corners, like hard braking corners. When I think hard braking corners, I'm thinking like Hungary first right hand.
Right, just anything you go from either a long corner that like lasts for a long time with high loads, so at a decent speed, or when you're going like from really fast to really slow.
That's what I'm saying. The Hungary one, the first one, they slowed down quite significantly in that one.
Yeah, I'd say the straights just give it long enough to cool down again, and it's a night race, so it's not even going to be that hot.
Yeah, plus it's winter in Saudi as well, so it's probably gonna be like 14, 15 degrees during the
European summer essentially.
Yeah,
because we do the European
so it'll probably be something similar to that. If not, it might be a bit colder because it's in the middle of the desert.
Can you try and find what compounds they're using? If you go back on the website you were on before, it might be there. Because that would be interesting to see what they're thinking. Because street circuits normally get the softest compounds, so the C1, 2, and 3. If that doesn't make sense to you, basically, Pirelli has 5 C compounds of tyres, C1 being the softest and C5 being the hardest. And you get 3 different types. The yellow soft one, the yellow medium, the white hard one, and the red soft one.
They're bringing in the middle range. That's a C2,
that's boring.
C3, and C4.
It's safe, it makes sense.
Because
if it's Monza with the barriers and it's a street circuit implies soft. Monza's compounds are normally quite soft. But then I don't know. I'd say that works out, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly
according to this
expert.
article, that track has only just been completed.
When was that written though?
It's today.
Today, what time?
11:44 a.m. Literally this morning. Like it's completed. Like it's not completed. Like
if that's UK time, then you add on the Saudi 3 hours or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like
so bad.
Wait,
that's actually so bad. I mean, the pictures look nice. It looks like a good track, but like, this was meant to be done 4 months ago.
Look, anyways.
It's tough. It's tough.
Not finished.
Right.
So it wasn't
My
finished
top
actually.
five.
Yeah. So you've said.
I said Lewis.
Max, Perez,
Max.
Sainz, Lando.
I'm gonna have to stick with that. I'd love to spend longer debating, but like, we'll go with it.
I think we'll
driver of the day as well.
Driver of the day.
Yeah, we need driver of the day predictions.
Who's your driver of the day?
Who is? That's tough.
There is no hero. So if someone wins, they probably get it. Unless like.
Nah, I'd say like, I'll go with science.
I'm
gonna go with science again. I'm gonna stick with science.
I'm going with Charles.
I'm gonna stick with science because if Lewis gets pole and wins, there's no way he gets driver.
Yeah, so Charles and Sainz basically. Ferrari boys.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want Lando to take the third spot in the championship. I don't like P4. Is it P5? Sorry, P5.
It's P5. Yeah.
The fact that he was even in the he was close to getting P3 at some point is insane to me.
He was in the conversation for a long time.
That was insane for
me. Who do you think gets third then?
I think it's gonna be Lewis, Max, Bottas, Perez, Lando, Charles, Sainz, Daniel.
You think it's gonna stay how it is? I'm pretty sure that's the order it is now.
I reckon it's gonna stay that. Or it might be Charles, Lando.
I think Charles overtakes Lando.
But you know what? You have to give it to Sainz this year. He's within like 4 points of Charles, and he's kept within like that's touching. Not even touching. That's like nothing.
4 points is over the
4 points.
Yeah, over the stretch of a season, 4 points is
nothing. I think he's been incredibly impressive, and like this is incredibly impressive. With like, he would have gotten pole in Monaco, and he would have won from pole in Monaco if not for like Charles smacking into the wall. Because he was on a really good lap there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
because I remember Charles was the one who was on provision.
Yeah, he hit him like obviously the thing was handsome.
See, I have such a bad short-term memory, bro. I've already forgotten what happened.
He was like, no, this is not fair. Oh. Anyways. Wrap it up here. I'm trying to think. I didn't see anything about a Formula One for this episode, like the fun kind of tidbit.
The
actually, there is one thing.
Yeah.
When Villeneuve won the championship, when Michael Schumacher hit him.
Yes.
In that corner.
1997.
So basically, for the last few laps, his battery. So basically the casing that held the battery was broken, and so the battery for the last few laps was held by the wires.
Oh yeah.
So if one wire broke, his car would have just died basically.
He would have retired, and then at that point, before the disqualification,
Michael would have won the championship. Yeah. But imagine he won with that. That's insane. That's insane. You were saying I highlighted something else.
I mean, it was completely unrelated. It wouldn't fit into this, but I guess that's the whole point of it. It was the Gasly overtake.
That was.
I'll put it in the description, bro. You don't need to put it up on the website.
That was a beautiful touch. It was a beautiful overtake.
We mentioned it in the. It fit in very well in the conversation.
Yeah.
That
before we lost all the footage.
The video before we lost the footage.
Yeah, so, and for new fans, if I recommend one overtake, the best overtake of all time. Search Mika Hakkinen Michael Schumacher Spa. Okay. There's no conversation. That is the best overtake of all time.
I'm trying to think of other ones. Like,
yeah, but
we'll have this conversation over
nothing
winter break.
compares to that.
But
It's such an incredible.
it's definitely very iconic.
Because it's in the wet as well.
Context.
It was wet at the time. It wasn't like a dry race.
I think were they on dry tyres? I thought they were on dry tyres.
Were they on dry tyres?
It might have been a drying track. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know the context of the overtake. I just know the overtake.
And Kimi going through like the spa where he does not lift at all.
I linked that for you.
That was one of the like most incredible moments I've seen in like recent like times. Anyways.
Well then, I will link the Gasly overtake, the Hakkinen. I might as well link the Hakkinen overtake. And if you somehow haven't seen the Villeneuve incident, I'll probably...
There is like Formula 1 did a whole segment on it essentially. You can just search it.
It's in the Schumacher Netflix film if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, but like there's a shorter one where Jack essentially walks everyone through it.
Oh really? I'm gonna
He's
have to watch
talking
that
about
myself.
it, yeah. It's on
Well, that wraps up pre-Saudi Arabia.
Episode 5.
Episode 5 of the Dirty Side of the Grid podcast.
The podcast is now on Apple Podcasts, it's on
Yeah, I
Spotify,
forgot to mention that.
it's on YouTube, it's on
Google
TikTok,
Podcasts.
it's on Google Podcasts.
So on Amazon Music as well, actually, as well.
And Amazon Music, yeah.
Yes.
We're everywhere, basically.
We're actually just taking over the world, essentially.
One podcast at a time, one podcast at a time.
One podcast platform at a time, one viewer at a time. Come in.
So we only have like 2. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening.